So, how do you fix a world that feels, well, broken? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty unique answer to that question. It's a grassroots blueprint for social change that's been developed over decades by the Baha'i community. It's called the Framework for Action, and you might be surprised by how simple its starting point is.
Right off the bat, the framework doesn't pull any punches. It starts with this really stark diagnosis of where we're at. As you can see, we're facing these huge crises that just seem to defy all the usual solutions, and it's leaving a lot of people feeling, well, pretty lost.
And that leads to the fundamental question, right? When you're up against challenges this big, where do you even begin? The framework we're looking at today suggests an answer that doesn't start from the top down, but from the ground up.
Okay, so to really understand the solution being proposed, we first have to get a clear picture of the problem as the source material sees it. The text uses these two really powerful phrases. You've got forces of disintegration, things like prejudice, conflict, corruption, all the stuff that tears us apart. But then it goes deeper, to what it calls a deepening malaise of the soul. The idea here is that there's a kind of spiritual crisis happening underneath all the material problems we see.
All right, so in the face of all that disintegration, what's the response? This is where the framework comes in. It offers a clear, coherent blueprint for actually building something new.
And here it is, the framework for action. Now, the two key words you really want to pay attention to here are systematic and learning-based. This is not about some rigid, one-size-fits-all model. It's an evolving method, a way of empowering people at the most local level to take charge of their own spiritual and social growth.
And this process develops a really crucial quality: constructive resilience. Now, this isn't just about being tough or enduring hard times. It's the ability to respond to challenges by actively building something positive, by turning ideals into actual social and spiritual progress that benefits everyone.
So who actually drives all this? The framework is built around three key actors, which the source material calls the three protagonists. See, this isn't about any single group working alone. The idea is that for progress to be real and to last, you have to build capacity in all three areas at the same time: the individual, the community they live in, and the institutions that are there to serve them.
And here's how that plays out. You see individuals showing a rise in initiative, taking action on their own. The community, in turn, becomes a vibrant, welcoming center of attraction. And its institutions? Their whole job is to serve, to raise consciousness. They're all designed to work together in total harmony.
And this quote, wow, it just nails that dynamic interplay between them. You can't separate the growth of a person from the health of their community. One shapes the other, and it's this constant organic process. Your inner life and the world around you are completely connected.
Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this actually look like on the ground? Well, the framework translates into a set of very specific, very practical actions.
The whole thing comes alive through a set of what are called core activities. These are open, grassroots initiatives that really form the educational and spiritual heart of the community. They're all designed to build people's abilities and foster a spirit of service, no matter what their age.
And these activities don't just happen randomly. They follow this really distinct rhythm, a 3-month cycle. It kicks off with a burst of intense activity and outreach, then moves into a phase of consolidation to strengthen everything that's been built, and it all wraps up with everyone reflecting together and planning for the next cycle. It creates this constant, living pulse of action and learning.
The goal of all this activity is, well, it's nothing short of transformation. This metaphor from the source material just captures it so perfectly. The idea is that the community environment, like a forge, helps each person bring out their highest qualities, turning all of that potential into a visible reality.
But here's the thing. This work isn't just about building a nice, cozy community for its own sake. The ultimate vision is so much bigger. It's about contributing to the betterment of the entire world.
You can think of this vision playing out in two main areas, and they're totally intertwined. On one hand, you have the internal work of community building we've been talking about, and on the other, you have this outward-looking engagement with society, applying what's been learned through social action and by contributing to important public conversations.
And social action here has a really specific meaning. It's not about just delivering services to people. No, it's all about empowerment. It's about building the capacity within a population so they can identify their own needs, make their own decisions, and take charge of their own future.
So, as we start to wrap this up, what's the one big idea that holds this entire framework together? the single most important principle.
It all comes down to this. The source material emphasizes again and again that everything, from what an individual does to how an institution plans, is driven by a humble posture of learning. It's this deep recognition that nobody has all the answers, and that the only way forward is to act, to reflect on what happened, and to learn together, step by step.
And this isn't just some abstract theory. The text talks about it like a living, breathing, global process that's really gaining momentum. You can feel the hope and the urgency in this passage. It's like an invitation to everyone to jump in and be part of this collective forward movement. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. You know, in a world that's so often divided by rigid ideologies, what if the real engine for change isn't having some fixed plan? What if it's a shared commitment to learning? What becomes possible when we build society not on having all the answers, but on the process of discovering them together?